One thing in Microsoft Teams people have a problem with is they can't create an agent really easily on the files in their Microsoft team. So it's not available within the Teams interface, but it is available to you. Let me show you how to create an agent using a file repository that's in your Microsoft Teams environment. So here I'm in my Microsoft team. If I go to the files area, if I choose new, I don't see the ability to create an agent. If I go over in this section, there's no agent creation either. But the secret here is this open in SharePoint. So if I go to SharePoint, which is the foundational file storage of all Microsoft Teams, I can create an agent there of these four files within Microsoft Teams. So I'm going to move to open in SharePoint. So it's going to open that up. And here's my four files. I'm now in SharePoint Online, so I'm in a normal SharePoint interface. And I do have here on the new, I do have the ability to create an agent from the new menu. I also have a button that you can't see because of the resolution, but if I click on the expansion, you see create an agent here. So those do the same, those two things do the same thing. When I click on create an agent, it automatically creates an agent for me of the files that are stored on SharePoint that support my Microsoft team. So this is one way you can get an agent to answer questions for you on the files in Teams. Before I go and create that, I'm just going to close that down. Let me show you something that might fulfill the need that you have to use an agent on these files. Again, I'm in SharePoint. If I go up here in the upper right corner, there's a Copilot icon that is unfortunately a little bit hidden in my opinion. But when I click on that, it brings up Copilot in the channel. And there is an agent that applies directly to this entire storage, the entire site within SharePoint. These are created by default. These agents are created. Every SharePoint site that's created gets an agent. So I could just use this, but it's not, for my purposes, it's not specific enough to the files that are in my Microsoft team. So I'm going to create an agent. So I'm going to go back to what I was doing before. I'm going to click on New. I'll click on Create an Agent here in the menu structure, and then it goes over and starts to create an agent for me. I'm going to create the agent by editing it. So I'm just going to call it Onboarding Agent. So you can change the icon if you like. You can change some of the commentary. You can see the sources here is the onboarding information, which is this library that I'm in right now of documents. And so it automatically puts that in as a knowledge source. So I can go over here and I can test it out and ask some questions if you like. You can also go and choose behavior and give it some instructions and make sure that it's addressing exactly what you need from your documents. Now that I go ahead and save that, I'm going to point out one last thing here, two last things at the bottom of the screen. Add advanced customization in Copilot Studio. That's where you can uplift this agent, the declarative Copilot agent in SharePoint. You can make it go into Copilot Studio and you can add logic to it and you can add flows to it. So that's a great way of uplifting an existing agent that was declarative in nature and making it maybe more suitable for your needs. The other thing over here on the on the lower right-hand corner is the agent file location. And if I hover over that, it shows me the location of the agent on my SharePoint site. Every agent you create in SharePoint is a single file with a .agent extension, and that's stored on the SharePoint site in a SharePoint library. So you can see here, this one is stored in the site, the documents library, and then onboarding information, onboarding agent.agent. So I should be able to find that file. If you ever want to get rid of an agent that you've created, just go in and you can delete that one file. Now I've saved this, and so now I should be able to use my agent. First, it's going to show me an overview of what the agent looks like. I get a chance to interact with it, and I'm going to interact with it and test it, and now I've stopped using it. So now I have 5 files. You see here's the onboarding agent.agent file. If I move that, it breaks the agent. If I delete that, obviously the agent goes away. Now, this is how I can use that agent in my site, again, against Teams documents. So I'll go to the Copilot icon in the upper right corner again, and I'll click on that, and it'll bring up the sidebar. Now I can do a drop down. Instead of searching across the entire SharePoint site, I want to do just onboarding agent. Onboarding agent is what I named it, and it is focused solely on this one library. This is great when I want to focus on the contents of a library, the contents of a folder. Maybe it's the contents of a library, and in addition, I can add another knowledge source that is a document with a bunch of prompts in it or whatnot. So you can manipulate the knowledge sources as you desire. So now I can utilize that on the SharePoint site, but this is a Teams library. So I want to utilize this agent and use it within Microsoft Teams. There's another option here that is a little hidden. In the upper right corner, I have the ellipses. When I click on that, I see this magic option here, copy link for Teams. So this will allow me to copy the link to this agent and put it into a team. So I'm going to click on copy link for Teams, and we're going to read, I'm going to allow that. We're going to read this message that it comes up with here. I can paste this link in a Teams group chat, not a channel, but a Teams group chat to add this agent. And then I can mention this agent and interact with it. So interacting with these documents. So I have the link on my clipboard. I'll close that out. Let me go back into Teams. And now I'll go into my chats and I will create a chat here. So I'm going to create one with John Moore, and I'll create one, let's see, with Andy. So now I have those two guys that are in the chat. When I click on type a message, I'm going to right click, choose paste, and it actually expands that link to be a onboarding agent, and it says this is an agent curated based on the content from the selected file sources. So I can send that, and then that becomes the equivalent of a person. This agent is now available within my chat, a group chat, again, not a channel, where I can interact with it by mentioning the agent and ask it questions about the contents of the library.